One slightly unhinged, very committed, practically aggressive afternoon can completely eliminate the 5 p.m. dinner panic for the next 3 months. And phase 1 starts right now. So when you're staring down 40 pounds of meat, you cannot simply go recipe by recipe. You cannot stand here and ask yourself, what sounds fun right now? You cannot freestyle your way through this or you will completely lose your mind by bag number 6. This has to become an assembly line. So step 1 is breaking the mountain down into usable dinner portions. Phase 2 is flavor. This is where people make the bulk prep process way harder than it actually needs to be. Because if you're gonna try and measure out cumin, salt, garlic, onion powder, paprika, oregano, chili powder, and whatever else your soul is whispering to you, for 12 different meals in one afternoon, you are going to hit bag number 4 and suddenly just need to sit down for a second. My ultimate cheat code is DIY bulk seasoning blends. This is the whole reason I made them in the first place. They are not just pretty spices sitting on a pretty shelf in a pretty jar. They are a whole cooking system. They are speed, they are consistency, and they do what makes this entire operation possible without me losing my will to continue. So for this batch, I'm grabbing my fajita blend and I'm coating this chicken like I mean it. Aggressively. Respectfully, but aggressively. Like, if I can still see plain chicken, I did not commit hard enough. And this is what it buys you on a busy Tuesday. Pan-seared fajita chicken sitting in a hot skillet, that sizzle that makes you feel like maybe you do, in fact, have your life together. Straight into a tortilla with some homemade garlic aioli, sauteed peppers and onions, chicken piled high, fold it, and it's done. Like, this is a real dinner, not we tried. Not everybody find a snack and lower your standards. This is actual, delicious, satisfying dinner that came out of your freezer because you did the hard part once. And yes, I absolutely ate 3 of these off camera. That is called quality control, and we are all professionals here. Moving right into meal number 2, chicken tacos. We're gonna do the same exact process. Slice it up, hit it with the taco blend, bag it, flatten it, and repeat. Repeat until my counter starts looking less like a home kitchen and more like a moderately effective protein factory. People always ask me why I dedicate an entire afternoon to doing this much bulk prep. Is it to save money? Yes, absolutely. I love saving money. I love not hemorrhaging cash at the grocery store and then again at the drive-thru because nobody has a plan. But honestly, the bigger reason is that my house is loud and busy and unpredictable. Next up, we have the Cajun chicken. And I go pretty heavily with this seasoning on purpose because I already know exactly what this bag is becoming later. A huge skillet of creamy Cajun chicken pasta. Case in point, I opened the drawer looking for a spoon and found half of my children hiding in the cabinets.
Mommy! Stop, Mommy! Are you,
Excuse me. Hi.
I said, Mommy! I said, Mommy!
Bye-bye. Which is exactly why at 5 p.m. I cannot be just starting to think about dinner. Because by the late afternoon, somebody needs something, everybody's hungry right now, somebody can't find their shoe, somebody is dramatically injured by a sibling existing, and if dinner still requires me to start from scratch, the whole evening is going to get ugly really fast. So that's why I do this. Not because I'm trying to be extra, not because I enjoy handling industrial amounts of poultry for fun, but because this one day of controlled chaos makes all the other days so much easier. And honestly, that is one of my favorite kinds of kitchen math. Next up is the classic poultry blend, and this is one of my favorite comfort food bags in the entire lineup, because this is the kind of dinner that does not need a speech. You throw it on a sheet pan with potatoes and green beans, slide it into the oven, suddenly everybody is fed, and I did not have to perform dinner like a magic trick at the end of the day. It's simple, it's dependable, it tastes like I absolutely had a plan even when the rest of the day was trying to prove otherwise. I'm not gonna lie to you. Around meal number 4 or 5, the marathon fatigue absolutely starts to set in. There's something about staring at this much raw chicken for this long that starts to feel psychological. At a certain point, I'm no longer just prepping dinner. I'm in a staring contest with poultry, and the poultry is getting louder. So coffee is mandatory at this stage. Not optional, mandatory. In fact, I need it so badly that I managed to spill it all over myself off camera and had to do a full emergency wardrobe change, which honestly feels on brand for this kind of day. So if you notice the new shirt, welcome to the glamorous reality of bulk prepping. Also, quick pro tip from someone learning in real time: move your laptop out of the raw chicken splash zone. Do not be like me. Because nothing says efficient kitchen systems like risking your electronics for content while covered in seasoning and questionable competence. But if you look at this stack of finished meals, suddenly the motivation starts to come right back. Of course, the hardest part of bulk prep is not actually the chicken. It is attempting to deal with my husband trying to hijack the video at the exact moment I am attempting to be efficient. Classic. But we push through. I'm still flattening these breasts so they cook evenly, and still portioning everything so I'm not guessing later when dinner is already breathing down my neck, because this is the part that may not look exciting, but it matters. This is the difference between a meal cooking predictably and me standing over the stove cutting into chicken like a nervous detective. So yeah, it looks repetitive, but this is the work that makes the meal later actually easy. So once these are flattened and portioned, we're moving straight onto the barbecue chicken batch, because this is one of those flavors that can save a weeknight so fast. It's beautifully simple. I'm hitting the chicken with my barbecue seasoning blend, no sauce yet, and I want this batch to stay flexible, because once you add the sauce, everything is going to get messier and stickier, harder to stack, and a little more annoying than I'm willing to tolerate at this stage of the day. So we're going to keep it dry in the freezer, which means I can season it well, bag it, label it, flatten it, and move on without creating extra problems for myself. And this is exactly the kind of meal that keeps you moving when your brain starts trying to negotiate for a quick break that mysteriously turns into about an hour. This bag is extremely low effort and high return, which is a combination I respect deeply. Future me loves this one. When it's time to cook, I literally just dump the whole bag of chicken into the slow cooker, top it with a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's, and then I can just take the chicken breasts and put it on a plate. Or if I wanted to, I could shred it, put it on a bun, and there you go, barbecue chicken sandwiches. Zero drama, zero effort later, maximum payoff. Okay, yes, I am wearing my pink bathrobe, and before anybody asks, no, this is not a vibe choice, this is a survival choice. Because I realized I left half of my supplies in the refrigerator in the garage, which is basically a walk-in freezer right now. We got snow in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach. You'll see the footage next episode. And because it is a walk-in freezer right now, I absolutely refuse to go out there without backup. Robe? Check. Boots? Check. We're talking full commitment. But while I was out there, I grabbed one of my absolute secret weapons. This is a jar of leftover pickle juice. I know exactly how this sounds. This sounds unhinged. It sounds a little suspicious. It sounds like the kind of thing somebody says right before ruining dinner. But stay with me. Because if you've never used pickle juice in your bulk prep, you are missing out on one of the easiest hacks in the entire game. It's salty and tangy, already seasoned, and it tenderizes chicken beautifully. It gives you that "why is this so good" flavor without making you do anything extra, which, as a general life principle, is exactly the kind of kitchen math that I like. So we do not throw pickle juice away. Seriously, it's your secret weapon. This is how you get homemade chicken to taste like you just bought Chick-fil-A. And no, for the record, it does not taste like pickled chicken later. Pickle juice is basically a ready-made brine. It has the acid and the salt doing the work, and that combination tenderizes the meat like crazy. So I'm slicing up about 5 pounds of chicken strips here, and they're all going to go straight into the pickle brine, and they're going to marinate for at least 3 hours before we turn them into homemade chicken strips and homemade chicken nuggets later. Now we're at the part of the whole day that makes everything start to feel a little bit like we're cheating. The breading station and the money. Because a 10-piece nugget at the drive-thru is like $9 right now, which is honestly kind of bold. Bold pricing, bold behavior, very confident for 10 small pieces of chicken and a handful of fries. Meanwhile, I'm over here making about 60 nuggets for the cost of maybe $10 total, give or take. And yeah, I'm rounding a little bit, but the point absolutely still stands. This is a win. This is a very crispy, very satisfying, very financially offensive to the drive-thru kind of win. So I'm trying to do a wet hand, dry hand setup, which sounds fussy until you don't do it, and then you immediately regret every life choice you've ever made because you will have both hands ending up in their own breading structure and you're unable to move your fingers. So egg bowl is the wet hand, seasoning flour is the dry hand. That is the rule, and we respect the system because we respect our own mood. All right, moving on to meal number 11, ranch chicken. This is another one of those dump and go bags that saves me constantly. It's incredibly flexible. I can use it on pasta and wraps, salads, bowls, sheet pans, whatever needs protein for a night when I don't want to think about anything harder than absolutely necessary. It is one of those quiet little workhorses that doesn't demand any attention and always ends up being useful. So we're doing the same thing. Ranch blend, season the chicken, put it in the bag, label it, flatten it, stack it, and keep moving. And just in the nick of time, the air fryer beeps, homemade nuggets are done, and as you can probably hear, the vultures are already circling. The second that beep goes off, it's like a dinner bell and chaos in this house. I have not even fully set the plate down yet, and suddenly there are hungry children materializing from every direction like they have been tracking this batch with sonar without getting tackled for a nugget. But look at these. The golden crust right there is the whole reason I do this. They're hot, they're tender. So yes, someone hand me the sauce and everybody back up because mom's eating too. All right, then we have Italian chicken. This is probably one of the more flexible bags in the whole lineup, which is exactly why we're making it. I can bake it and throw it over spaghetti squash, slice it up into a big salad, toss it into pasta, layer it in a skillet meal, put it with vegetables or rice or whatever fits dinner. It's just super easy, and I love meals like that because not every weeknight needs to be a fully committed plan. Sometimes it just needs to be old reliable, seasoned chicken that tastes really good and solves your problem really fast. And while I get this batch coated, let's do some actual math of what we are accomplishing today, because this is why I'm willing to let my kitchen look like a crime scene for the entire afternoon. This is a 40-pound case of chicken from Sam's Club that was $95. And by the time I'm done portioning, seasoning, bagging, labeling, and freezing everything, it turns into about 18 dinners sitting in my freezer, ready to be deployed whenever I need them. So the protein cost per dinner comes out to about $5 and change. And if you divide that by 7 people, that is roughly 75 cents per person for chicken. 75 cents. You could not even approach a drive-thru with 7 people for that. Not physically, not financially, not emotionally. You would spend more than that just getting everybody a drink, and somehow they would still forget somebody's sauce, somebody would hate their order, and I would still end up making toast later for the child who suddenly decided that they did not like food anymore. So yes, this takes effort, and yes, this is a lot of chicken, but the value is wild. This is not just meal prep, this is me converting one bulk purchase into weeks of peace. To the chicken strips. So we will definitely be eating these fresh because in no universe am I making chicken strips and they're not going to get eaten immediately in this house. But they are even better than that. They do dinner, they do lunches, they do the I need food in 5 minutes and I am not in the mood for creative situations. They're perfect on wraps inside of a tortilla. They're perfect just as chicken strips. You can throw them on top of salads. They are fantastic. They're a great crispy protein that doesn't get soggy when you recook it, especially if you want to try the air fryer. Oh my gosh, they're wonderful. So I always make several batches of these if I'm going to go through the process of breading things and frying them. These taste so close to the real thing that it's actually a little offensive. Same tender bite, same flavor, same kind of texture that makes people think that they have to go back for another one, except these taste cleaner and fresher and they're significantly cheaper. That is the kind of victory that I enjoy. I enjoy my family enjoying dinner and demolishing these. It's all the confirmation I need that this was absolutely worth the effort. Alright, we are officially taking a break from the prep to actually eat. And honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of days like this. Because after hours of portioning and seasoning and bagging and breading and freezing and labeling, and generally turning my kitchen into a very organized poultry operation, we finally get to see that the food delivers. And the verdict is in. The pickle juice hack always works. Now we have Greek chicken. It's always one of those dinners that sounds kind of impressive when you say it out loud, Greek chicken, but it's really, really simple. In reality, it's just a handful of very reliable ingredients doing exactly what they're supposed to. Nothing dramatic, nothing complicated, no ingredient here is trying to be the main character. It's just a group of flavors that always seem to behave themselves in the kitchen. This one becomes wraps. It's so good. I do like to go ahead and slice up a couple of lemons and toss them straight into the bag with the chicken with this one. It just adds a nice pop of flavor and it almost re-marinates the chicken as it's thawing, which is a huge win. This bag has one job. It needs to survive the freezer, the thaw, the skillet, the sauce, the pasta, and still come out tasting like something people are excited to eat. So I season this like I expect results. And again, once it's in the bag, we flatten it. Always flatten the bag because freezing chicken flat is one of those tiny kitchen habits that pays you back consistently. It stacks better, it stores better, it takes up less space, and when you inevitably forget to pull it out the night before, which I say with love because I do this too, it thaws in a bowl of cold water in a fraction of the time. That is a lifesaver. Because here's the difference between I forgot to thaw dinner and it's okay, give me 20 minutes and I can totally recover from this situation. Flat freezer bags are recovery systems. That is what they are. And when your life is busy, recovery systems are everything. The chili chicken is one of those bags that really earns its keep later. At this point in the day, my body is usually starting to file formal complaint. So if you see me stretching my leg in the middle of bagging chicken, it's not a wellness routine. It is not me trying to embrace balance. It is me trying to stay operational. Because somewhere around the stage of bulk prep, your back starts negotiating, your feet get a little dramatic, and every trip across the kitchen starts to feel a little more personal than it did before. Chili chicken, once it's mixed up, all I really need to do is take it out of the bag and move on. It's not fussy, it's not complicated, and it is not asking me for emotional support. It's like straight up dinner insurance, and I absolutely love this in red enchiladas. It's fabulous. And this is not chili chicken in a just chili powder sort of way. This is the chili seasoning I use to make huge batches of homemade chili. And it is surprisingly outrageous, seasoned over chicken and then put into chicken enchiladas. Trust me, this is one you're going to want to try. This Sam's Club haul was absolutely huge and there's a lot more work to get through. So this is definitely not a one and done situation. Next up, I'm taking on a massive brisket for the smoker, which feels exciting, slightly reckless, and completely necessary. After that, we'll be diving into giant tubes of ground beef to make meatballs and chili, because I apparently like looking at industrial qualities of meat and making aggressive plans for my future. After that, we have pork loins for pork chops and salmon. I bought an entire case of salmon to show you how to rock your world and have seafood once a night. So if you want to see how this whole haul turns into actual meals, not just chicken, but all of it, make sure you stick with me because we are just getting started. The Old Bay seasoning. So my husband is at the counter chatting and I am fully in finish the list mode right now. We are down to our final few recipes, which means I am no longer entertaining anything fussy, precious, or overly ambitious. This is the stage of the day where I want reliable, high return meals that know how to behave. So there we go, Old Bay chicken. This is one of my favorite late game bags because it's basically summer in a freezer meal. It has that low country boil energy without the giant stock pot, without steaming up the whole kitchen, and without me standing over boiling water like I have all the time in the world. I want the vibe, but I do not want the production. So I build this to bake with corn on the cob, red potatoes, and maybe even some sausage like kielbasa, because I need the whole dinner to show up and come together all at once. Old Bay just has that instant, we're here somewhere fun quality to it. Even if we're literally just standing around our kitchen on a normal Tuesday with people talking at the counter and life still happening around us. It always tastes intentional, it tastes like I planned something specific, it tastes like effort. Even though the effort was mostly me seasoning aggressively and refusing to make dinner harder than it needed to be. And if you're running on fumes, this is exactly the kind of meal that lets you feel like a competent adult. Not a miracle worker, not a domestic goddess, just a competent adult who figured out how to get dinner and sides handled in one move. Mentally, that's a huge win. Meal number 15, orange chicken. So I'm cheating in the best way possible here because I have a bottle of homemade orange sauce that I used last week when I made orange chicken, which frankly is the only reason this recipe is being made. You can quickly sub this out by grabbing a bottle of orange sauce from the grocery store and doing the exact same thing. Because if I had to stop and make the sauce from scratch in the middle of this prep marathon, this meal would probably not be happening. Having little things of sauce already made means that I can just go ahead, put the chicken in the bag, coat it, and move on. It's a tiny shortcut and an easy win. And when you go ahead and thaw this later, it tastes more orange chickeny than if you had made it that same day because it gets to marinate as it's freezing and while it's thawing. Now, the orange chicken was going really great for about 12 seconds. And then I walked away from the bag like I had everything under control, and that bag immediately decided to humble me because I did not have it under control. It tipped over, sauce went on the counter, sauce went on the floor, sauce went everywhere, and for a brief, very specific moment, it looked like I had fully lost the plot of this day. Which, you know, is honestly a little bit on brand for batch cooking days anyways. And this is the part that nobody puts in the pretty montage of all their meal preps. Sometimes everything goes into the freezer just like little organized angels and you feel wildly competent, and sometimes a bag of orange sauce and chicken decides to test your character. Thankfully, I caught most of it before it became a full kitchen crime scene, cleaned it up, rescued the situation, and we kept moving. Next up is the blackened chicken, and this one is absolutely not getting some shy little dusting of seasoning here. I want real coating on here, serious coating, because that seasoning is going to do all my heavy lifting for me later, and I need to show up with confidence right now. I am not pulling bland chicken out of the freezer in 2 weeks and standing there offended by my own adult choices. We are not setting future me up like that. So I go heavy on purpose, because blackened chicken should actually taste blackened. It should have that deep, smoky, bold, savory flavor that makes dinner feel like a real plan instead of just another bag of chicken with vague ambitions. This is one of the reasons I like building out different flavor lines when I'm already doing the work. Because once the hard part's done, future me gets to pull out a bag of blackened chicken one night, orange chicken another night, Greek chicken on another night, and actually feel like we have options. It's not just the same meal wearing a different attitude, and that matters more than people think. Because variety is a part of what makes a prep system sustainable. If every freezer bag feels interchangeable, everybody gets tired of it really fast, including me. But if the flavors are clearly different, clearly usable, clearly built for different moods or different meals, then the freezer starts to feel less like an emergency storage and more like a real dinner system, which is exactly what I want. And then we have jerk chicken, which is my favorite seasoning blend. Obviously, the seasoning blend video is going to be linked in the description of this video because this is what kicks off this whole series. This jerk chicken is just amazing, but it's also really good on salmon and in a variety of other ways. You have to make this if you like spicy food. It's sweet, it's unusual, it's striking, it's spicy, and I love this seasoning so much. And at this point, the chicken is officially gone. The box is empty, the counter is covered in spices and chicken juice, and the kitchen very much looks like it has been through something serious. And honestly, it has. We've been on a journey, but before I let myself call this done, I need to get all these bags into the freezer. My dishwasher is running, my feet are officially on strike, but this is my favorite part, because this is the moment where all the mess finally starts making sense. Let's do a final count. We have fajitas, we have tacos, ranch chicken, Italian chicken, barbecue chicken, nuggets, strips, Greek chicken, Old Bay chicken, orange chicken, blackened chicken, jerk chicken. We have all the chicken. And when you count it all up, it gives us 18 plus dinners. And if we plan one night a week to use the chicken breast, which is how I like to do my system. I like to alternate beef one night a week, fish one night a week, chicken one night a week. Then for the next 3 months, I don't have to worry about having chicken for dinner on a Tuesday. I have a dinner here taken care of every night for the next 3 months. And this is what the series is going to become for you. So one long, slightly unhinged, extremely productive afternoon later, and we have a freezer full of actual help. So if you want to see how this whole haul turns into actual meals, not just chicken, but all of it, make sure you stick with me because we are just getting started. These videos will all be in the playlist. If you want to see whether I actually survived the beef marathon after that, make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss it. Finish cleaning up this kitchen, question a few of my life choices, and then probably sleep for the next 12 hours. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.